What are people supposed to do on a first date? Well, it seems to depend on your gender. Previous research focusing on a first date between a man and a woman suggests that men are expected to fill more traditional masculine roles, while women are expected to engage in more traditional feminine roles. In order for people to know what to expect on a first date and how to behave accordingly, we rely on a first date script as an expectation of what happens on a first date and how people should behave. We've relied on these same expectations for over a number of decades, as the traditions of first dates remain relatively unchanging. In this study, we investigated the current expectations on first dates and whether people see behavioral roles as more egalitarian, or if people assign gender roles to first date behaviors. We used a list of 67 behaviors that typically occur on a first date and asked our participants to identify if each behavior is typically done by the man, the woman, or both. Selecting both would be an egalitarian response, seeing as gender as irrelevant for who should do what. Our results reveal that most of the 67 behaviors people did not agree on who should do what. There were only 15 behaviors that over 50% of our sample agreed on. For example, our participants thought that men typically pay for dinner and drinks and hold the door open for their date, whereas women typically take extra time to prepare and get picked up by their date. While most participants also thought that either men or women could discuss plans with their date and kiss them goodnight. We also looked at only the behaviors that were traditionally assigned to men or women from previous studies. For the behaviors traditionally prescribed to women, our participants were more likely to prescribe these behaviors to women than to men. Also, the behaviors traditionally assigned to men, our participants were more likely to prescribe these behaviors to men than they were to women. And this was especially true for the women in our study. These findings indicate that individuals may not think that first date behaviors overall need to be enacted by men or women, but that people do still have consistent beliefs about gender roles for specific stereotypical behaviors on a first date.